Welcome, one and all, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. You know, I'm starting to have a few questions about Supreme Court nominee and possum you've cornered in the garage, Brett Kavanaugh. Question number one. If he's so damn smart, why is he so dumb? Let's just assume for a second that he's completely innocent of any of the accusations of sexual misconduct. Then, why does a federal judge think he can lie about little things that are easily disproven? Things that, if you already don't trust him, make you trust him less. And if you do trust him, make you think, why do I trust him? For instance, Kavanaugh told the Senate last week that he never got out of control when drinking, but it was just revealed that during his junior year of college, he instigated a bar fight after a UB40 concert. And if you're familiar with UB40, you be at least 40. I mean, that's quality. That's quality. I mean, come on, UB40. Nothing could be more stereotypically college in the 1980s. What's next? Kavanaugh teamed up with James Spader to steal Molly Ringwald's underwear and throw it into the pool, where Phoebe Cates is sunbathing while John Cusack holds up a boombox over his head screaming, "I want my MTV." Now, I bet the remaining members of UB40 got Twitter alerts saying, "Oh, hey, we're trending. I wonder why." Oh, do we have another hit? Do we have another? Oh. Anyway, here's what happened. Kavanaugh and his buddies, Chad Luddington and former NBA player Chris Dudley, went to the UB40 concert, then hit up a bar afterwards. And at one point, they were sitting near a man who they thought resembled Ali Campbell, the lead singer of UB40. When the man noticed Kavanaugh and his buddies looking at him, he objected and told them to stop it. So Kavanaugh diffused this tense situation by throwing ice at the guy. Well, that's not very judge-like. In the case of Williams versus Strickland, LLC, it is the opinion of this court that you look thirsty. The fight broke out, and Brett's friends Chris Dudley took a glass and smashed it into the head of the not UB40 guy. Or, as Brett Kavanaugh would say, I had a few beers with friends, I busted my butt, my friend busted some guy's head with a beer, I went to Yale. When speaking to officers on the scene, according to the police report, Kavanaugh did not want to say if he threw the ice or not. So, Democratic senators, don't feel bad. He won't answer cops' questions either. And more former classmates are coming out to dispute Kavanaugh's claims that he led a chaste life of church, community service, and brawls with British reggae pop bands. For instance, here's another thing that makes me question his vaunted judicial acumen. Remember Deborah Ramirez, the Yale classmate who says that at a college party, Kavanaugh drunkenly thrust his penis in her face, forcing her to touch it non-consensually? Well, under oath, in front of the Senate, Kavanaugh claimed the first time he heard about that accusation was when it was published in The New Yorker. But a former Yale classmate says she received texts about Ramirez before the article came out, including one message where Kavanaugh asked her to go on the record in his defense. Now, these have not been released to the public, but we have obtained an exclusive copy of that text. Need your help about beer, 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 eggplant, woman says no. Beer, 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 I like beer. Again, Again, quick reminder, Kavanaugh testified under oath that Deborah Ramirez's allegations were a total surprise to him. But watch how he seems to be making up his answer in real time.
When was the first time that the ranking member or her staff asked you about these allegations?
Today.
When did you first hear of Ms. Ramirez's allegations against you?
In the period since then, in the New Yorker story.
In the last period since I showed her the New Yorker penis. I mean the new penis story. I showed her my new penis. So this evidence right there, that's That's perjury, isn't it? That's evidence that Judge Brett Kavanaugh misled Congress, or as judges would call it, perjury. Now, Kavanaugh is not worried because he knows that Donald Trump is standing 100% behind him. But it might be with a hatchet, because this is what the president said during this afternoon's Chopper Talk.
I don't think you should lie to Congress, and there have been a lot of people over the last year that have lied to Congress, and to me that would not be acceptable.
Totally unacceptable. No, totally unacceptable, because lying, kind of my thing, okay? Get your own shtick, okay? And you can't take assaulting women, because I got that one too, okay? I call dibs.